I've got kind of a greatest hits montage here
Oh,
of a lot of
great.
the stuff. I know, right? So Tony Hinchcliffe, the guy who did the Puerto Rico thing, will be here for the first like minute and a half. But yeah, let's just roll this beautiful bean footage and see
I don't
what
know
we
if you
got here.
guys know this, but there's literally a floating island of garbage in the middle of the ocean right now. Yeah. I think it's called Puerto Rico.
Kamala's gross incompetence disqualifies her from being president. Everyone knows she is a very low IQ individual.
It's going to be pretty hard to look at us and say, you know what? Kamala Harris, she got 85 million votes because she's just so impressive. As the first Samoan, Malaysian, low IQ.
She's a fake, a fraud. She's a pretender. Her and her pimp handlers will destroy our country.
Kamala has imported criminal migrants from prisons and jails, insane asylums and mental institutions from all around the world.
She is the devil, whoever screamed that out. She is the Antichrist. President Trump, in what he has experienced, knows that Jesus Christ is king.
I don't see no stinking Nazis in here. I don't see no stinking domestic terrorists in here.
Out of character for me to speak at a Nazi rally. I was just in Israel, but I took the gig. She is some sick bastard, that Hillary Clinton, huh? What a sick son of a bitch. The whole fucking party, a bunch of degenerates, lowlives, Jew haters, and lowlives.
You have to tell Kamala Harris that you've done a terrible job. Kamala, you're fired. Get out. Get out.
All right. So what do you think, Natalie? What do you think after seeing all that?
It made me incredibly sad to rewatch this because we are not the enemy from within. We are Americans. We are neighbors. We are friends. We are colleagues. When you go to the ER, you don't ask somebody, you don't ask your doctor or your nurse, what's your political affiliation? They take care of everyone the same, right? And I think the divisiveness to me was so deep and entrenched in othering, the misogynistic, the xenophobic, the racist rhetoric. I talked to John Legend about this and I asked him the same question you're asking me. What did you think? And he took us on a nice history lesson around the comparison of this to when the Nazis held a rally in that space in the 30s. And I posted that clip on my LinkedIn and someone posted that I was the problem for asking such a divisive and dangerous question in comparing what I saw to a Nazi rally. And what I responded was the only thing divisive and dangerous was the rhetoric being spewed at that hate rally. That is the kind of energy that you bring to the forefront when you want to incite violence against the other. And that speech being used as a pep rally for their side, it wasn't. They didn't talk about policy. They didn't talk about how they wanted to make America great again. All they did was project who Donald Trump is onto Kamala by talking about how she's unfit and unqualified and has a low IQ, when actually all of those things, as we know, are very much true of her opponent. But at the end of the day, what upset me the most was the fact that they did this in a state that they knew, this is a blue state. The reason that they held it there was specifically to showcase the comparisons and the similarities. And when you read a lot about some of the rhetoric, like America is for Americans, I believe that's what the Nazis said in Germany. Germany is for Germans. So we cannot discount this. And I take offense to anybody making fun of this or making it lighthearted and trying to find the humor in it, because this to me was a real turning point for the Republican Party. And I don't think there's any going back for them now.
Agreed. John, what do you think?
So a couple things. First of all, Nice job, just casually name dropping. I spoke to John Legend there. Now very good, just slipping that in
well,
there.
yeah, well, we did bring it up first. To be fair, we did. Yeah, I think it's. But I like that. I do enjoy that. Yeah.
Second of all, it's I wouldn't have taken. Hulk Hogan has the least offensive speech at the Trump rally, but like it was funny
I
because
wasn't on my bingo card.
It wasn't on my bingo card, but Hulk Hogan, like, you know what? Like, I was fine with what Hulk Hogan said. It was the rest of them that were the problem. Everything Natalie said there was true. You're comparing it to a Nazi rally thing. It's like, okay. I said yesterday on the show that I saw a tweet. It's been living in my head rent free that conservatives basically are people who don't know how anything works, getting mad at people for knowing how they work. Yeah. And it's like, to anyone who's plugged in at all, who understands the history of fascism in America, the first thing you think of when you think of a political rally at Madison Square Garden is the Nazi political rally at Madison Square Garden. It's the only political rally that I could ever think of at Madison Square Garden. And it would be like a tank manufacturer deciding to unveil their newest product at Tiananmen Square. Like, it's just like the thing that this place is known for is if you are known for that thing too, I just avoid that area. And it must be an intentional decision to do that. And the only people who would be mad at you for bringing that up are people who, I guess, didn't know that. They're like, oh, you're reaching into the history books for this one. No, like, all of us just know that to be true, and Donald Trump's team does too. Let's not treat this with kids' gloves here. The other thing I wanted to bring, go ahead, Natalie.
No, please.
Please say what you're going to say, because I was about to prompt another thing.
Okay. I just wanted to add to your point, just as a woman watching this and listening to the venom being spewed at Kamala, at Hillary Clinton, who's not running. Like what is the obsession with her? Like, leave her, like, move on. Okay. It concerns me because I just did a piece for my social media that's going to come out. It'll probably be up by this time this airs, around how a lot of Republican women are voting in secret for Kamala because they are afraid of their spouses, their male spouse's reaction or their partner's reaction. And when you look and see the violence in the language that is being used by men, all I could start to think of is, what if I was a woman sitting with my husband, who I know is a big Trumper, and I know secretly I'm going to vote for Kamala because I'm afraid that my daughter is going to have less rights than a rapist as we continue to move forward? How do I reconcile that when he's laughing at them making fun and saying terrible things about women on this stage? How can I live in that space? And the level of fear, because I actually felt very uncomfortable just watching them talk about the way they talked about women and the disregard that they had and the disrespect that they had. You may not like Kamala's positions, but you cannot discount her intelligence and her qualifications for this role. You may not agree with her politically, but Elon Musk just ran an ad where he called her "see you next Tuesday." His PAC ran this ad and they used the C word throughout it. Like, this is not okay. And the level of patriarchal violence that we're seeing on that stage, the way Tucker Carlson recently talked about giving America a spanking like a 15-year-old hormone-addled girl, that is creepy, disturbing, and it lends itself to taking it from the home and out into the world. And when feminists, when radical feminists talk about dismantling patriarchy, this is exactly what we're talking about. So I just wanted to add that.
Yeah, no, I would actually love to circle back to that point and talk about the campaign ad that Kamala released with the women voting against their husbands, because I think that's a whole discussion in itself that I want to get your opinion on. But I want to stay focused on the rally, and then we'll get to that. But that's a really good point you bring up, Natalie. The thing that I wanted to say is we just watched a whole slew of crazy, racist, misogynistic, just fucking boorish comments coming from this rally. but one of them caught fire more than any of the others. And I really don't even think it was the most offensive one that was set. To me, personally, I don't know. You can take your fucking pick. But I thought when Tucker Carlson was like the Malaysian Samoan low IQ, I was like, what in what world is that not just racist? Like what again, what is the point of the joke? Kind of what we said about the Puerto Rico thing, which is like she's not Malaysian or Samoan.
Right.
Nor would that, like, why would that even factor into why someone wouldn't believe that she would win the presidency of the United States? Why would low IQ at least? I know what you mean by low IQ, but a normal American who isn't versed in right-wing rhetoric wouldn't understand what he means by low IQ. But like Malaysian Samoan, like American Samoa is part of fucking America. Like what?
Right.
What would be the thing about that would make you not believe that she was qualified to be president of the United States? Then the low IQ thing. Oh my God! Like it's incredible how fast low IQ has just started to rhyme with trigger. It's insane. Like I feel like this happened in a year span. Like it's just so obvious. If you're on Twitter right now, it's all I fucking see from the right wing is like this low IQ attack, which what Stephen A. Smith said on Fox News to Sean Hannity when he was like, you can't be telling me that Kamala Harris isn't fucking what would he say?
You said like unable to speak or
unable to speak.
Incoherent speaker. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And it's like, like you can't tell me with a straight face that Mr. Let's put a 20% tariff on all imported goods across the board is some high IQ savant, and Kamala Harris is not. Like we all know what that means because they can't articulate why they think Kamala Harris is low IQ. I don't love Kamala Harris one way or the other. I don't know how intelligent she is relative to other people. She's never struck me as particularly unintelligent. If you look, I would say Biden is much more apt for that attack because of how often he misspeaks and says dumb things. Kamala doesn't do that very often. Like, what about her is low IQ other than the melanin in her skin?
That's funny. Like, Biden strikes you as lower IQ because I was like, oh yeah, I would.
Right. Like you want to say which one?
Yeah,
just like you think low IQ attack would go to Biden.
Yeah, like Biden at his best day in the last 100 years, and Harris on her best day, and give them the SAT. I'm going with Harris. Harris is gonna outscore right there. All right, yeah. So everything you guys said there, second it completely. And I want to go over some of a lot of the things you guys and the fine people that were speaking mentioned in there. First, I want to talk about Hillary Clinton. I think you guys brought up Hillary Clinton and everything, and how they seem to be obsessed with her, although she hasn't ran since 2016, hasn't been part of politics or whatever. And I will say that this afternoon, I was struck by some realization that I've given Hillary Clinton a hard time, for as far back as I can remember and everything. But, looking back, she was right about the Russian collusion. She was right about Tulsi Gabbard. And when she said that half of Trump supporters are a basket of deplorables, they've spent the last 9 years proving she was absolutely right. Proving that not a miss in one of those letters of that statement that she said. They just keep getting worse and worse and worse. And with the Trump supporters, I think John, you mentioned like how they don't understand how anything works and anything like that. This is something that the three of us, everyone watching, we probably talk about politics more than 90% of the population. For a long time, I did do my best to engage with Trump supporters, to like the really loud and open, obnoxious ones, and do it in good faith and just talk to them on exactly what they want and what they're looking for. And without fail, the conclusion I came to is that, they're incredibly stupid. That's what it came to. Like every single time, they were either incredibly stupid or just really bigoted. There was no third category. It was one or both, but it was never neither. Like it was always something like that. And that's who the crowd appealed to. Like we're talking about the fascist rally in 1939 in Madison Square Garden, and it is now. Yeah, I would venture to guess that a good chunk of Trump supporters don't know anything about that because once again, they don't know that much. But the ones that do know exactly what the winking and nod is for. Like they know exactly who this is going for. And Hulk Hogan said that I don't see any Nazis here, brother. I'm looking around. I don't see any Nazis. And I'm stealing a joke from Triumph, the insult comic dog. But it's true. You can tell these guys aren't actually Nazis because the Nazis were in shape. You at least got to give them that. And so the people there, like not America's cream of the crop that you're looking at there. The Nazis took care of their bodies at least. The guy with the crucifix really weirded me out. I don't know who he was, but whenever someone's standing up giving a political speech, holding a cross is bad enough. The crucifix is fucking creepy. The crucifix is terrifying. I've always found that kind of weird. Trump, do we believe this conspiracy theory? Not conspiracy theory, but this idea. Like we all can kind of pinpoint why Trump says what he says. Do we think that Trump keeps talking about Hannibal Lecter because he thinks that claiming asylum is actually insane? I always dismiss that, but he keeps bringing up insane asylum. So I don't know. Maybe that is actually what he's going for.
I don't know.
Go ahead.
I will say the opening asylums here and like reopening the asylums is a thing that conservatives very much want to do. They're like, oh, we should just throw all the homeless people in an asylum. And just like I grew up next to a closed down asylum. I learned about how incredibly messed up those places were. Like it's unfathomable to the human conscience now. We shouldn't do that. But I don't think the Hannibal Lecter thing has any rhyme or reason. I genuinely think it's like we're sitting here trying to decipher why.
I know, right? Yeah, I know. Yeah,
I don't think there's some deeper meaning here, TJ.
Maybe not. Yeah, maybe not. The guy who mentioned Kamala Harris's pimp handler, and this goes to what Natalie was talking about with the just. We talk a lot about the issues that plague the United States, and racism, I think, gets the most ink or whatever. The sexism is much worse. It is much worse. It is as bad as the racism is. The sexism is a lot worse because it's pervasive in every culture that women are just seen as being less than men in every conceivable. Well, except in like. Well, you need to stay home. Like that's where you guys belong. Don't try to do what we do outside of the place and everything. But there should be no time in public discourse when it's okay to say that a professional woman who is engaging in politics and running president of the United States and calling people her pimp handlers. You would never do that to a dude. It would never happen at all. And it's just simply meant, like you said, with the see you next Tuesday thing. And John, I wrote down you said exactly what I wrote down with Tucker Carlson with the Malaysian Samoan thing. I wrote down just racism. That's it. Like it's sort of like what John and I were talking about. The Tony Hinchcliffe thing with Puerto Rico, it started off as kind of like the setup for a joke where he's talking about the giant island of garbage that's in the Pacific or somewhere. He's like, actually, it's just Puerto Rico. Where's the joke there? It's just Puerto Rico are the garbage people on a garbage island. That's the entire thing. With Kamala Harris saying that the Republicans like to do this childish thing where they pretend that they don't know something. Oh, I didn't know her name is pronounced Kamala. It's like Trump is great because if you watch Trump like talking about Harris with his advisors or just like to the side, he always says Kamala. He always says Kamala until he's in public. When he's in public, he always says Kamala because it's just kind of them being children. And what Trump's saying, or Tucker saying, well, she says she's black, but we don't believe her. So what is she? She's Samoan, she Malaysian, she Micronesian, like who knows? They're just throwing it out there. And the low IQ thing, absolutely. And going back to the beginning, what you said, Natalie, I circled down what you wrote that nobody you talk to feels good. It just feels bad all around. Yeah, I feel that too. I feel that pretty much everywhere. And so, yeah, it's just, the juxtaposition in how these two campaigns are closing has actually strengthened my confidence that Harris is going to win because that's the way this is ending and the way this is just showing the stark difference between these two candidates. It could not be more clear.
Yeah, I think what we're seeing, and I don't want to segue us to another topic, but I think what we are
on this show, never.
There are so many. This is why we said like we might not get to anything else. There's so many topics.
There's so much to talk about. But I can't. I'm sorry. John is frozen, and I don't know if I'm speaking over him or not.
Oh no, you're good.
Okay. So. To your point, John, and TJ, I do believe that they are getting nervous because we know this kind of rhetoric, it doesn't appeal to anyone new, right? Whether it's whether it's stupidity that they're appealing to, whether it's racism or any form of bigotry, right? And I would also add willful ignorance to that. I think there are people that do know better and choose not to do better because they are comfortable in that space. So I would throw them in this mix too.
Right. Thank you guys so much for coming and watching this show. You made it to the end. Even if you are a Republican who we shit down your throat this whole time because the algorithm loves to send our videos to you, thank you for making it this far. I'm sure you won't like it, but maybe subscribe and hate watch a couple more of our videos. And if you want to hate watch some of Natalie's content, Natalie, where can people find you?
Yeah, you can go to TikTok and Instagram at Natalie Bencivenga. You can go to my website, www.nataliebencivenga.com. And I also host radio on kdkaradio.com every Saturday from 2 to 5. And you can check out some interviews there as well. And these two pop up every now and then. So hopefully they'll be both on very soon. So you can check me out there. And also pencapitalstar.com. I have a series called Facts Over Fear.
Thank you so much, Natalie. Folks, we really appreciate you guys joining me, John, and Wolfie for yet another show. And, you know, we look forward to the next time Natalie interviews a famous black musician or actor and decides to come on the show and gloat about it. So next time, hop on and we'll see what we can do. Catch you guys later. All right, that was a hell of a show.